This case study's title is Flipping Every Student, a case study of content-based flipped language classrooms by Yuchi Sun. For your information, content-based language learning is when the teacher teaches the language through content. For example, students learn science or math in their foreign language. Meanwhile, flipped blended learning shifts instruction outside the classroom, allowing teachers to prioritize active learning during class by having students engage with online lectures and presentations beforehand. Let's review Sun's research questions. Question 1. What attitudes and perceptions do students have about language and knowledge acquisition in the content-based flipped classroom? Question 2. What strategies and approaches do students use throughout the learning process? Question 3. What key insights and patterns emerge from students' experiences in the content-based flipped classroom? In EFL contexts, the Taiwanese education system prioritizes test performance and language accuracy over fluency, with grammar translation and vocabulary memorization, leading to passive, teacher-centered learning and repetitive drills. The content-based flipped approach reframes English as a tool for knowledge exchange, integrates skills beyond grammar, and shifts learning from passive to active engagement through research, reading, writing, and in-class activities. Next, let's discuss the context and background at the institution. The course included 30 undergraduates, 17 males, 13 females. They were in Taiwan across diverse fields, 17 in science, engineering, 3 in management, and 10 in humanities. Among them, 29 were native Mandarin speakers, while 1 was an international student from Holland. All Taiwanese students were EFL learners with 11 to 13 years of formal English education since 3rd grade. Their English proficiency ranged from high intermediate to advanced. Let's move to blended implementation. The course focuses on face-to-face discussions and presentations for engagement. Students read weekly science articles and presented them in roundtable sessions, where they paired up to present and question each other. Data included: 1. A student questionnaire. 2. Interviews. 3. Online reports and inquiries. And 4. Teacher observations. So, what attitudes and perceptions do students have about language and knowledge acquisition in the content-based, flipped classroom? Well, the survey results reveal that students generally have a positive attitude toward the flipped CBI classroom, with the most recognized benefits being increased confidence in presentations, direct language use, and content knowledge. Some students reported greater progress in English due to the course's interactive nature and the flexibility to read articles of interest at home. However, others found traditional methods more effective for learning English, despite lack of enjoyment. They state that the impact of reading online articles is harder to measure. For the second question, what strategies and approaches do students use throughout the learning process? The researcher found that students employed several strategies to cope with the demands of the flipped classroom. They valued self-directed learning by researching content before class to gain a deeper understanding and better prepare for peer questions. To manage the time-consuming task of finding suitable articles, students learned to start their preparation earlier. Some students used their first language to search for articles faster, then looked for English equivalents to present. Additionally, students anticipated potential questions and prepared answers in advance to enhance their presentation readiness. For some, preparing for a short presentation required several hours, highlighting the effort invested in their learning. For the third question, what key insights and patterns emerge from students' experiences? First, friendly versus critical. One student noted, I try not to give others a hard time by pushing for follow-up questions. While another explained, I avoid difficult questions to prevent embarrassment and end up discussing more superficial topics. Second, efficiency versus autonomous learning. Some students were motivated by tests, feeling tests help measure their progress, while others preferred learning based on personal interests. Last, degree of teacher involvement and the teacher's role. Some students expected more teacher involvement because the reading and research process would be faster. Other students disagreed and believed learning on their own was more important for the future. In this section, I critically analyze the blended learning case based on the theoretical framework of community of inquiry. The community of inquiry framework, which emphasizes cognitive, social, and teaching presence, provides insight into optimizing students' learning experiences. One cognitive presence challenge was balancing critical engagement with social harmony. Some students avoided challenging follow-up questions to prevent embarrassing their peers, fostering a supportive but superficial discussion environment. This intersects with social presence, as students prioritized positive social dynamics over intellectual rigor. To encourage deeper discourse, instructors could model critical engagement, as suggested in UCF's Designing Better Blended Learning podcast with Dr. Norm Vaughn. Students' reliance on Chinese sources before switching to English suggests they used their first language for efficiency, possibly due to the overwhelming number of choices. This relates to teaching presence. While some students sought more guidance, others valued independent learning. A gradual increase in autonomy rather than immediate full optionality may ease this transition. Dr. Vaughn emphasized that students expect content expertise from instructors who must balance guidance and facilitation. Similarly, Sun stressed the importance of blending content learning with explicit language instruction, advocating for clear content and language objectives in the planning phase. Perhaps students who are used to a more traditional approach would appreciate incorporating more teacher presence to the learning environment. In summary, while social presence created a supportive atmosphere, it sometimes hindered deeper cognitive engagement. Teaching presence structured tasks, but high autonomy required students to develop independent critical thinking and collaboration skills. Vaughn also noted that Canadian students, often trained for standardized testing, struggle with teamwork, highlighting the need for learning environments that foster both independent inquiry and cooperative problem-solving. From my perspective, here are some key takeaways from this case study. First, gradually expand student choice to help them adjust to this approach. Second, model critical thinking questions to guide deeper engagement. Third, foster intellectual risk-taking to encourage more meaningful discussions. Lastly, thoughtfully integrate traditional methods to create a balanced learning experience. Here are the references. Thank you for listening.